He presented as innovative practices in K-12 education conference at Arizona State University. He has earned the TESOL, means teaching English to speakers of other languages, course certificate. He has completed professional development courses on teaching critical thinking, problem solving and core skills by British Council. He has completed teaching and mentoring leadership program from National Institute of Education, Singapore. He has contributed in framing the benchmark for assessment of speaking and listening, ASL, of CBSE students by Trinity College, London, and worked as a master trainer, ASL, afterwards. Now, I request Mr. Gaurav Kumarji to start the webinar. Thank you, sir. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you so much.
Welcome, sir.
Yeah. A very good evening to each and everyone present here, and I would like to say it is my immense pleasure to have you all with me today, and I'm very, very thankful that you have given me this opportunity to share my views, to share our system with you all, and I'd be more than happy if you all, after listening to whatever I have said, give whatever reactions you have about our system, any questions. So I would be more than happy to address all the questions that you'll be having after the presentation. So shall we start with the presentation?
Thank you, sir. You are welcome. And I request our Gaurav Kumar sir to make his presentation. We'll be waiting for your presentation, sir. Thank you. Start, sir.
Sure, sure. Okay, okay, yeah. Is my screen visible to all?
Yes, sir. Yes,
yeah.
It's visible.
Well, thank you. So today we are going to talk about the mentorship program that was introduced by the current government of Delhi back in 2016. So there are several interventions that are going on since that time, and I would like to say it is kind of a revolution which has happened in educational scenario in our state. So what this mentorship program is all about, how did it start, what are the different aspects that we are going to address with the help of this program for our students and our education system is going to be the central theme of my presentation today. So let us start. What is this mentorship program? It was introduced back in 2016. So 2,000 mentors were selected for about 1,030 government schools of Delhi. It means on an average, every mentor teacher is serving about 5 mentee schools. Why there was a need to initiate this program? Actually, being in government service, there was a time when we used to think that we are so secure with our jobs that even if we will not do a thing to build our capacity, the government job will be safe. And because of this, there was a state of inertia amongst the teaching cadres. Now, whenever a new teacher used to enter into the system, he used to try new innovative things. All the senior fellows, because of that inertia, they used to demotivate the new teacher by saying that, okay, it doesn't matter how much you do for these students, they are not ready, they are not willing to study, and you can't do much to improve their status. Because of this, many new teachers, they were feeling depressed. They were not sure why exactly they entered into this noble profession of teaching. So our government kind of realized that there is a need to do something by which the demands of these teachers who are so intrinsically motivated, who are so willing to change the depressing scenario of education in Delhi state government schools, we need to do something about them. So then it was a decision that was taken, and all these 200 mentors, they are actually regular teachers. They are in diverted capacity. That means they are not receiving any extra monetary benefits. So why are we doing it? We are doing it just for the sake of our own satisfaction, because we are intrinsically motivated. We want to do something for our students, for the whole education system, and that is why it was a completely volunteering effort back then. So we volunteered, we filled the application form, and then there was a day-long orientation and selection process which happened with the help of core experts from University of Delhi and respective SCERTs. So this orientation process plus selection process, it included personal interview, group discussions, personality testing, and so many other competitive rounds. Finally, they selected 200 of us. Now, what do these 200 mentors do? They are actually responsible for providing academic support to their mentee schools. As I have already mentioned, that every mentor is having 5 or 6, sometimes 4 mentee schools. This one set of 5 mentee schools is known as a cluster. So every mentor has a cluster of schools to serve, and they provide academic support to their mentee school. This is the basic thing mentorship is about. Now, why? Why do we need this system? As I've already told you that before 2016, there was a depressing scenario in our education system. Teachers, they used to feel that now they are very safe with their job and there is no need to do anything by going out of their comfort zone. So basically, our department, our bosses, they thought that a system is needed to develop a horizontal management system against the vertical hierarchy. This was one of the biggest Oh, yes. I think I went on mute. I hope I'm audible now.
Yes, yes.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Thank you. So the first thing is that there was this vertical hierarchy. Our principal, then our district education officer, then our director, and then our secretary. Because of this hierarchy, there was a kind of a fixed mindset. Whenever an officer used to come on inspection inside of the school, they don't bother about what sort of challenges a teacher is facing inside the class. All they used to care about is what kind of a performer they have today for their inspection. They just bothered about filling that performer, and that's all. So all the problems, all the challenges of our teachers, they remained unaddressed. So the first thing that this program did was it developed a horizontal management system where there was no hierarchy. So as a mentor, I am connected with the principal of my mentee school. At the same time, I'm connected with the teacher. At the same time, I'm connected on equal footing with my deputy director education. And at the same time, I can connect with my education minister. He is just a phone call away from all of us. So we can contact him whenever we feel the need. In this way, that hierarchy was cut short. Secondly, there was a need to develop a community of practice because it was a common scenario in our school staff rooms that as soon as the teachers they were there during their free period or during the recess period, they used to talk about everything else but education. So no teacher was willing to talk about education. No teacher was willing to talk about students. They were talking about politics. They were talking about all the other stuff that was going on here and there. But then it was felt that there is a strong need to motivate teachers intrinsically in a way so that they form a community of practice, so that even when they have a free time, they are sitting in their staff room, they talk about education, they talk about students. So to bring in certain changes, the need for such a program was felt. Third thing, yes, there has always been a gap between the academic stakeholders, that means the teachers primarily, and the administrative stakeholders, that means the directorate officials primarily. So whenever the teachers, they wanted to convey something to the officers, it won't reach to them properly. Whenever the administrative cadres, they wanted to convey something with the help of circulars or orders, they failed to get optimum result out of that. So a mentor was supposed to bridge this gap between the academic stakeholders and administrative stakeholders of the state. And eventually, the purpose of this program was to form a district level resource group. So basically, as a mentor, I report to the district authorities, that is my deputy director education at district level. And with the help of my deputy director, I coordinate with the district SCERT, and it is a collaboration of the deputy director office, the SCERT of that district, and me as a mentor teacher, which is getting some good results in the form of resources for all the schools. I can share a good example with you. If I go to one of my mentee schools and I found out that the mathematics faculty of that school is struggling real hard with a section of students who have chosen English medium for studying maths, but who are unable to cope with the language because they don't hold a command over the language that is required for the level of class. So what I can do is I can directly contact with the SCERT. I can ask the experts and senior lecturers of SCERT to help my mentee school teachers out on this issue. And within 3 days or so, my mentee school teachers of mathematics will be getting a direct support from the SCERT maths expert on that issue. So this is how a district level resource group is helping to address the specific challenges of a particular district, because it is quite obvious if we have different districts, so we will be having unique challenges, particularly attached to a particular district. So that is why we felt the need of a program like this, and it came out in the form of mentorship program. Now let's move ahead. Yes, now let's talk about the roles and responsibilities that we as mentors are playing. So the very first and the most important responsibility that we are dealing with is the school visits. So every mentor is supposed to visit his mentee schools at least once during a week. So what do we do when we visit our schools? The first rule is that we are not supposed to visit our schools just like officers. That school is having a duration of 6 hours and I will go to the school only for 2 hours. No. If at all I have to go to a school, I will have to report to that school right on time when the school starts, and I'll have to stay there till the end of the school hours. So I go there. First of all, what I do, I meet with the HOS, head of my school. I talk to him. I ask him if everything is going on smoothly or if the school is facing any issues, if the school is having anything for which some sort of troubleshooting is needed, if the school is having any challenges for which there is a need for district support team is needed. Yeah, I'm audible. Yes. So the first thing first, I just meet with the principal of the school. Then secondly, I also meet the TDC. Now, what is TDC? TDC is Teacher Development Coordinator. So he is my extension in that particular school. So if I have 5 mentee school, each of my mentee school is having one Teacher Development Coordinator, that is TDC. The work of this TDC is to coordinate, to form a link between me and the rest of the staff members of the school. So TDC in a way can help me to, bring in all the things that are needed to be done in a school under one umbrella. So Teacher Development Coordinator is an essential element of our mentorship program. Then finally, I also meet the PI. PI stands for Primary In Charge. So all our government schools, they have primary classes as well. Few of them, they are having classes starting from 6th only, but many of them, a majority of them are having primary sections. So Primary In Charge is the person who is responsible for coordinating all the primary sections and connecting them with the mentor. So as soon as I enter the school on a given day for a visit, I will talk, I'll meet to the HOS, to the TDC, and to the Primary In Charge. Secondly, what do? I go for academic observation. Now, this is the key term. I don't enter inside a mentee school with the intention of having some sort of inspection. I'm not there to reflect my authority over the teachers. I will go there just with the intent of observing the classroom so that I can make a record, make some documentation of good academic practices that are being followed by any teachers there inside the classroom. There is no way that I'm going to give my teachers an impression that, okay, you were not teaching good today and some sort of action is going to get initiated against you. No, this is not the way we function. As I have already shared with you, it's a horizontal system.
Hey, क्या है वो?
So my purpose here is to observe the classes academically, to make a record, to make documentation of whatever good practices are going on in the classes, and so that I can just share them in later stages with other mentee school teachers. Then, other than that, I do observe other best practices which are happening maybe outside the classroom. For example, there may be a science teacher who is applying some very innovative methods and who is maybe teaching his students by making them sit inside the school park. And he is giving them some lessons of biology by just making them go around inside the school park. So this is a good practice. So what I do, I observe it and I document it, and then eventually I just will have to share this practice with other mentee school teachers so that the same can be followed and the same can become a common practice across my mentee schools. So you can see on the left-hand side of this slide, there is a typical page, a typical observation that I have written during a school visit. So this is what we do. Whenever we go to a school, we observe each and everything, and eventually, end of the day, we write a report about our observation in that school on that day, duly signed by the head of the school. At the same time, on my right hand side on this slide, you can see a picture in which I am talking to the faculty members. I'm just giving them some tips on how could they improve students' attention with the help of technology, because technology has become an integral part of our system, more so in these unprecedented times because of COVID-19. So these are certain things which I do during the school visit. Next, my second role is creating supplementary learning material for our students. Most of the time, as teachers, we see that our students are not at the level where they need to be in order to understand the content. And it is said that a teacher has to come down to the level of the students to make them understand. So one analogy that is often offered in our system is, if you are going to teach 8th class, you will have to be a student of 9th class. Then only you can teach and connect well with the students of 8th class. If you enter in 8th class with an opinion that you are a master's in that subject, it will be very difficult for you to connect with those students. So evidently there are two levels. One level at which students are there, one level at which teacher is there. But according to me, there is a third level also. And that third level is the level of the textbook. Oftentimes, what I have observed is even the textbooks are not up to the level of our students. Our students, they struggle a lot to understand those textbooks. And we as teachers merely make our efforts to get down to the level of textbook only, not actually to the level of the student. So our purpose as mentors is to create some supplementary learning material that in a way can simplify the content of the textbook for students so that students can study and can connect well with the content. How do we do it? So on my left hand side, you see, I am testing a student. This is called a baseline assessment. So in the beginning of every session, I as mentor at random go to my mentee school and conduct some baseline assessment in my subject. That is, if my subject is English, so I would conduct a baseline assessment of English of our students in that mentee school, and I get to know at what level the students are. This is one way to understand to what extent we need to simplify the content. And then once we do that, we start working on making certain supplementary books. That is, on the right hand side, you may see there is written Pragati 5. Pragati means progress. So Pragati is actually a series of supplementary books that is offered to our students from class 6th to class 8th to simplify the content. So this is Pragati 5. That means it is the 5th series. So this is how we create supplementary level so that we can help our students to understand the content better. The purpose is not to cover the course merely inside the class, but to get student to that level where student end up understanding whatever is there inside the textbook. This is another responsibility. Next, a very important responsibility that we mentors follow is facilitating in-service teachers workshops. Oftentimes, almost in all the systems, our teachers who are already in service, they need to go through workshops. So it used to be a trend in Delhi as well. So most of the time during such workshops before 2016, some specialists, some experts, they were invited from universities and colleges like University of Delhi, like JNU. So those experts, when they used to give their content to the teachers used to complain that this expert is not having a real idea of our ground realities. This expert does not know the situation inside of a classroom. This specialist feels that there are ideally only 30-35 students in a section, whereas in our school, we are having as many as 100 students in a section. So all the methodologies, all the pedagogical interventions that were told by that expert, they remain ineffective inside the real classroom situation. So to address this problem, what our government has decided that we mentors will be given specialized training, and then mentor will take the lead and mentor will facilitate in-service workshops for the teacher. Important thing, we don't teach in these workshops. We facilitate these workshops. So the basic difference in teaching a workshop and facilitating is quite simple. We motivate all the participants to, get in, participate. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible. It's
Yeah,
very
thank
clear.
you. Thank you. So this way, we are trying to facilitate our in-service teachers by getting our own expertise and sharing it with them. It's a sharing platform, and every mentor has to do it in his or her respective subject. If my subject is English, so I'll be teaching my teachers English. I'll be facilitating their English workshop. And you can understand the commitment of our education minister, who also happens to be the deputy chief minister of the state, that sometimes he himself makes sure to be a part of such workshops. So on my left hand side, if you see the picture, I am presenting, I am facilitating a session, and deputy CM, education minister himself is there and observing everything that is going on inside the classroom. It gives us a chance to be ready all the time. At the same time, sometimes we just go with small batches. For example, on my right hand side, I am dealing with a small batch because during one in-service training, I realized that out of total 50 participants, there are some 15 participants who are having specific need to get more clarity on concepts like grammar and other functional aspects of English language. So I conducted a session with those 15 teachers to get a go ahead with them so that they can get tailor-made solution of whatever issues they are facing inside of the classroom. So this way we facilitate our in-service teacher training for the teachers. Next. Essentially, because we have to observe the classes, we have to provide feedback to the teachers of our Menti school, we have to conduct in-service teacher training, we have to also create supplementary material for the students, we need to develop our own capacity. And for that, our government gives us regular chances. And each and every one of us has to participate in these capacity building self-development programs. So on my left-hand side, you can see that I just completed a program from RELO, Regional English Language Office, and being certified for the same. On my right-hand side, if you see the picture, it is a picture of VGKK, BR Hills, Bengaluru, that is, and it is a picture wherein we went on a national exposure trip. So every year, all the mentors in group of 25 each go to different states of country, and for one whole week they go observe classes over there, observe different institutions over there, and based upon those learnings they come saturated so that the same can be shared with other teachers later on. So it is during the same capacity building regime that we made to visit the Singapore NIE, and we just had a 1 week capacity building program even in Singapore. So all the mentor teachers, they are given continuous support, they are given continuous opportunities to build upon their own capacity. So even this is a part of our role and responsibility. Now, what is the impact, the overall impact of this program? Since it's almost 4 years now, this program's running continuously. A few impacts are, there is a consistent improvement in our results. Not only the results of grade 10 and 12, but the results of all the classes, they have shown significant improvement since this mentorship program came into effect. For example, our 12th class result in 2018 was around 90%. In 2019, the same result was 94.6%, which is a great improvement considering the condition of government school students in Delhi, where almost 71% of our students are first generation learners. So we always try and make sure that our students would come up with a better result. Reduced rat tapeism. This is one very important point, as I have already shared with you that we have such mechanism whereas we can contact even our education minister at will. Whenever I feel the need and I feel that there is no other way any other officer can address this situation, I can contact to my deputy CM, the education minister, whenever I want. No red tapeism, no protocol in place, as long as it is related to the learning and betterment of the students. Next, there's been an improved teacher-student connect now. Why so? Because we as mentors always try to inculcate intrinsic motivation amongst the teachers and the students. We as mentors make sure that our teachers feel that empathy that is required to be in the shoes of our students to teach them better. As a result, now there is an improved teacher-student connect. At the same time, there is better teacher training model in place now. I would call it cascading model. Why? Because whatever trainings I receive for my own capacity building, I have to make sure to transact that training to my mentee school teachers. I have to cascade it. So this is the best way of giving training, because I received something and then I just transacted it to my fellow mentee school teachers. More than that, there is also a very strong sense of ownership from all the stakeholders, parents. Even though majority of our students' parents, yeah, am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
thank you. Thank you. So majority of our students' parents, they are illiterate. As I have already shared with you, almost 72% of our students, they are first generation learners. Now, even then, we have conducted our parents teacher meeting in such a way that it has become a sort of a celebration. Parents, they just want to come to the school. They just want to sense what is going on inside of the school with their child. Secondly, since there is no hierarchy in place now, not only the teacher are feeling safeguarded about their rights, even our officials, even our authorities realize that yes, as teacher, if you have to teach in a classroom where 90 or 100 students are present, it is not always possible to follow the standardized protocol. So now, whenever the officials come to inspect, rather than focusing on what is written there inside the syllabus for that week, they simply focus upon what the teacher is teaching in the class on that given day. So they never question that in the syllabus for this week, this topic is mentioned. Why are you not teaching this topic? Because they understand that inside of a classroom, the authority of teacher is the highest. This create a strong bonding, a sense of ownership among everyone. So these are the impacts that we felt during these 4 hours of our continuous endeavor to being a mentor teacher. With this, I thank you so much. I think I have also shared a video with my friend Mr. Vinyadhar. So if Mr. Vinay can try to play that video, is it possible?
Vinay sir?
Yeah, a video that I have shared with you. Is it possible to somehow play that video?
Yes, I'm doing that. I will try.
Yeah. Otherwise, we will go with the question and answer session.
Already there are questions in the chat box. You go on addressing them, and
Okay.
I will try that.
Oh, okay, sure. Let me just try it.
So, really, it is awesome presentation, sir. Really, you have given the crystal clear idea of how, what is the reason behind the success of the government schools in Delhi. Really, total nation is looking towards the success of Delhi, and we understood what is the reason behind. Today, you have given a clear idea how you could get success in this journey, and really it is I think it is because of the commitment of all the stakeholders in this in education department and the government and the teachers in particular made success. Really every government and every state should follow this example.
I highly appreciate to whatever you have said, sir.
So thank you, sir. Our participants have some queries. First, on behalf of them, I would like to ask them.
Oh yeah, please go ahead with your queries. I'm more than happy to answer. Please.
Because so one major question our teachers are posing that suppose if in our schools, in our government, Telangana, if any teacher acts as a mentor or a resource person, he has to manage with the school, he has to attend his school, and he has to work with whatever the assignments given by the government or the Department of Education. You have to maintain the both. So how could you manage with your homeschool responsibilities besides mentoring other schools? That is the question posed by some of our participants.
Okay, I understand it. No, there is no compulsion for the mentor to report to our parent school once we become the mentor. In fact, this is the beauty of this system. If at all we have to go to any of our mentee school for the full 6 hours. In this way, we go to the mentee school only, and we don't have to report to our parent school on daily basis. We go to the parent school, say, once in a month. That is to complete some administrative formalities and all. If I am a mentor, all I have to do is either I'll be conducting a workshop for the in-service teachers, or I'll be reporting to any of my mentee schools. That's all.
So there is a teacher in your place to fill the gap that.
Oh yes. So, the department has made sure that the vacancy that's been created because of me joining the mentorship is duly filled by a teacher who's replacing me in my parent school.
Right. Then only it is possible.
Yes.
So one more question, sir. So
yeah, please.
Suppose you are the teacher of English. You have some 4 or 5 mentee schools. So when you visit the school, you see the subject, means you inspect or you look at the subject, teacher or the class which you are well versed with. What about the other subjects?
Okay, whenever I visit to a mentee school, I observe the subjects, I observe the classes of all the subjects, regardless of my own subject. Because as I have already shared with you, this observation is purely academic in nature. So I just try to make a record of all the good practices that are pedagogically being undertaken by the teacher. So even if I don't know very much about a topic of mathematics, I can understand that the teacher is using maybe a playway method or some other kinesthetic method to connect with the student. So I make a record of that method rather than focusing upon the topic of mathematics on that day. So I make sure that I observe the classes across the subjects.
That's great. So
Yeah.
you see whether they are following the pedagogy properly or not, that you see.
Yeah, primary focus is upon the pedagogical interventions and not upon the topic that is being taught on that day. How the topic is taught is my area of concern.
Right. So another question from the participants is, are there any disciplinary actions against the mentee school teacher? If suppose as you are the mentor, you may give some instruction to maybe guidelines to the teacher. Then suppose the mentee school teacher doesn't follow your instruction, what would you do? Or if so, would you report to the Department of Education? In that case, do they take any action against the teacher?
I get your question. Well, the beauty of this system is, as I have already mentioned, that it is working on horizontal collaboration and it is not hierarchical in nature. So if even after my repeated request, there is a teacher who is not following up, I try to establish a personal connect with that teacher. I just try to understand what actually is the problem because of which the teacher is unable to perform whatever he or she is, guided or advised to do. I can also take the help of the school principal. I can involve the school principal on a positive note, ensuring that teacher that no disciplinary action would be initiated against you until and unless it is something severe in nature that the teacher has committed. For example, if I see a teacher beating a student and I just try to talk to that teacher to make him understand that, okay, by law, we just cannot beat, and even psychologically, there is no way that we can teach students by beating them. But if I see that a repetition of this action is happening, I can report the same to the principal of the school. That is the maximum I would do. So in my report of that day, I can give it in writing to the HOS of the school that this is being happening repeatedly with that teacher. You please look into the matter.
That's great, sir. Just you give a friendly suggestion to the teachers and you guide them.
Yes, the mechanism of giving feedback is very important here.
Always positive feedback.
Yes, always positive. So we don't say that this was good and this was bad. We simply say this was good and this was not so good. So a key difference is in the vocabulary that I use when I interact with my teachers. So for example, if you allow, I can share with you a very small story in 2 minutes, which give you a fair idea of how do I convey my feedback to the teachers. So once there used to be a mighty king and he was having a great elephant. That elephant made him won many wars. So it was the king's favorite elephant. Now, as the time passed, the elephant, he grows old. And now it was evident that any day the elephant would die. But the king, he was so in love with the elephant that he just did not want the elephant to die at any cost. So what he did, he arranged a team of best doctors of the state. He gave them the custody of the elephant and he told the doctor that every evening one of you will come to report about the elephant, and whosoever will give me the news of the elephant's death, I will hang him. Now it was a critical situation. The doctors started working, but then, as it was expected, one day the elephant died. Now every single doctor was just crying that day, and they were not sure that who's going to the king's court for reporting today, because whosoever will go will be hanged. Now a very senior doctor, a very aged fellow, he said, okay, I am quite old. I don't know how many years I have to live more. Today, I will go to the court for the reporting. And then that old fellow went to the court. And just when he entered the court, the king saw him. The doctor simply wished the king and stood aside. He didn't say a word. The king, he kept talking to his minister, and then after several minutes, finally the king himself asked to the doctor, how is the elephant? So the doctor said, oh, he is all right, my king. So then the king asked, did he walk today? Doctor said, no, my lord, he didn't walk today. Okay, did he eat something? No, he did not. Did he drink water? No, he didn't even drink water. Okay, is he moving at all? No, no, king, I'm afraid he is not moving at all. Finally, the king said, is he dead? And the doctor said, oh, my king, I did not say this. So you see, the beauty of giving feedback is such that eventually the person himself end up admitting what the truth is, what the reality is. As a mentor, I don't have to point out that you did this wrong, you did that wrong. As a mentor, I have to make sure to create such a communicative environment wherein my mentee teacher by himself would accept that yes, this could have been done in a better way in the class today. So this is how we work. Thank you.
Really, the wonderful story that has given us great thrown a great light on what we have to do and what's the role of a teacher and everyone. Sir, if you have any queries, you may please raise hand and sir will address your queries. Vinay sir, are you ready to share the video? Vinay sir? Hello? Is it ready?
And if any other questions are there, so I'd be more than happy to address the questions.
Are there any other questions? Please raise your hand. So one question from a participant is, what is the curriculum that you follow, whether it is a CBSE or your state has a separate syllabus?
No, we follow CBSE only. Delhi,
all the schools.
Yeah, all the government schools, they follow CBSE only. Till 8th class, we follow the curriculum of SCERT. So that is why sometimes we create supplementary material only for the students of grade 1 to grade 8.
So my personal request is that if you have any successful stories of your school the videos or whichever the material that you have, you may share with us so that our participants, our teachers will go through it and they try to follow as much as possible at our extent.
Yeah, sure thing. I would definitely be sharing it. And I can just also share with you on the spot one good example. How do we actually try to cut across the red tape and try to solve the issues? So there was this mentee school of mine where yes, am I having a question?
Yes.
Please go ahead.
Kavita ma'am, would you like to speak?
Niharika.
Yeah, hi Gaurav. Glad to see you here.
Hi, hi, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm so excited to see you on this
Oh,
platform.
thank you so much, Niharika. I just didn't know it came to me as a surprise. Oh, welcome.
Though
Nice,
he's a
nice.
mathematics teacher, she always attend our sessions. She's
Wow,
every session of English she attends.
how amazing! I know Niharika is an amazing person. I think I'm glad and blessed with the opportunity to spend almost 4 days with her during a workshop session, and I know she's a great teacher. Yes, for sure.
Yeah, I could recollect all the memories of ASU when you were talking. So you are just expressing. I was really excited to hear.
Oh, thank you so much. It was such a nice connect with you.
Yeah,
Good.
going to the same place for the same program.
Yeah, yeah,
Nice,
yeah.
nice. Go ahead with the program. This platform is a different one.
Rengareddy sir.
Yes.
Hello.
Sir, shall
Sir,
I ask a
you may,
question,
yeah,
Gaurav,
yeah.
sir?
you
Ask.
may speak. Venkatesh sir,
GK
start.
sir.
Start.
Sir.
Yes,
Then
you can.
how do we implement this kind of mentoring system in our state when there is no support from the government, state government? Is it anyway useful for us? In
Well,
other way, I mean.
okay. I would like to say that I am not in a capacity to comment over what the government decides for a particular state. But all I can say is that we as mentors and our government, we always try our level best to connect with our state, other state representatives as well. So almost every month, delegates from different states across India, they used to visit our government schools, and we always try and make sure to just make them through, orient them through everything, all sort of interventions that are going on in our state. The only purpose of doing so is to spread this practice if it is considered a good practice by other states as well.
Thank you.
I think Vinay sir is a mentor for he is a super mentor and mentor, and he is mentoring some schools.
Okay.
I think he is the right person to speak about it, what we are doing here in our schools. Vinay sir,
Yeah.
please share your views.
No, Gaurav, this is not part of the government, but we are working with the different projects. Suppose let us take an arms project, action scheme sponsored by the British Council. So through that, I mentored the teachers and they did action research and we presented. And at present, we are working on the classroom project. It is also sponsored by the USIEF. It's a micro grant program. So there we have taken a 30 teachers and we are mentoring and how to connect our classes each other. So this is how we are working without the help of the government. Thank you.
Great.
That's it.
Oh, great. In fact, what I could observe is that all of you educators have really created a great community of practice with the help of this platform on which you people have invited me today. So, it is something, it is so wonderful to see our teachers working on their own to sort out and to get the creases out of the system. So if we are doing something like this, then I don't think if the government does something or not, our students are blessed to have educators like you.
Right, sir. Lakshman Vangara, sir, would you like to speak?
Hello.
Yeah,
Hello.
please.
Hi, Gaurav. This is Lakshman. Really, it was an amazing presentation regarding this mentorship of schools. But the objectives of school is, of course, the objectives of the program is not new, but it is the way you implemented the program was awesome.
Right.
So that is the it shows your commitment of the government, and the people who were involved in the program was great. So making horizontal management system, and develop communities of practice, and the third one is bridging the gap between academic and administrative stakeholders, and the third one is forming district resource group. So the objectives are very clear, that what you wanted to do with the program. So but here in our state also, we have some school complexes. So what you have just mentioned, though whether we can uh, get support from the what do we call government or thing, but here the teachers, if the teachers are committed, we can also form this kind of communities of practice. So
Right.
even the Levin Wenger proved it, the success rate of communities of practice in 1991. So here it all depends upon the commitment of teacher, I strongly believe. Of course
Exactly.
the governments and everything, but we need a lot of support from the government. But at what level we can do, at what extent we can give our best to the our school is very important. So I hope all the teachers who have participated in the group will take a lead to with the inspiration of your presentation. I hope the participants who have witnessed this presentation would take a lead to take their school complexes to some next level. I hope in our next academic year. Very good, and really we are very fortunate to have your presentation today. And thanks to Mr. Vinay Raju to invite you to this ELTA webinar. And thank you, Mr. Gaurav. Thank you very much.
Well,
And
I thank you.
one in a question I wanted to ask you. So how often do you visit the your mentee school in a month or
Okay.
in a week? Please
Yeah.
let me.
Yeah, ideally, we are supposed to visit our mentee school, each one of that at least once in a week. So that makes it 4 visits to each of our mentee school in a month. But sometimes, if suppose I am a part of a core team who is involved in preparing some supplementary material for the students or for the teachers, I may end up reporting to SCERT rather than going to my mentee school. In that case, what do? I collaborate and connect with the TDC, Teacher Development Coordinator of that school, so that I can keep receiving and keep providing essential support and information with the help of my TDC. So it so happened, for example, we have an online platform that is known as Chalklit, 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 right? So this platform works for creating resources online for our teachers. So I am a part of that. I am a part of resource creation team. So if I have to report to SCERT and I can't go to my mentee school, then I can connect with the teacher development coordinator, with the primary in charge, and I can keep supporting them telephonically or whatever way possible.
Okay, thank you, Gaurav. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Is there any participant? Really very useful session, sir.
Dr. Neelu ma'am is there.
Neelu ma'am. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate this program.
All right.
I haven't raised my hand actually, but anyway, thank you, Gaurav sir, for your wonderful commitment and mentorship. And if the possibility comes, definitely all of us are willing to do that.
Oh, I'm so grateful, ma'am, that you found it useful. And yes, definitely, all it takes is the degree of motivation that we teachers are having within us. So once we have it, we really don't need, as one of our colleagues was saying moments ago, we don't really need a very big boost from the government or from the system. We are the system. So sometimes,
As it is, the commitment is evident. The webinars presented by all the experts here through ELTA itself is a proof of the commitment.
Exactly, exactly, ma'am. And this is simply amazing. I definitely would like to congratulate all of you to have such a good organization.
అది వచ్చి ఏమైనా నెలకుంటా ఒక బటన్ ఉంటుంది అది సార్ గౌరవ్ సార్ ఐఎమ్ సంపత్ కుమార్.
Yeah.
Hello.
He is
Hi,
a
sir.
present urban Warangal district, sir.
Okay, yeah.
We feel great for your presence. We are privileged to have
madam.
presenter for our sessions. So kindly.
Madam ki ఊడవడం అంటే బాగా ఇష్టం.
Kavita madam, please meet. Please, sir, Gaurav sir, when the lockdown is over, if we are fortunate to visit your schools in future, our team of some Alta Telangana, I want to visit and what are the fruits you got from your mentoring and all these activities. That if you are ready to facilitate us, we can do that.
Actually, Gaurav sir, that's what I wanted to talk to you. We are planning for some field trip like that. We some teachers who are willing to work in this field and who are very interested form a group and we visit your schools. Would you provide any such? Would you allow us?
Oh yes.
Visit your schools and what are the formalities? Suppose if you want to visit your schools, are there any certain? Is there any protocol?
Yes. This is what I'm going to share with you. First things first, we would be more than happy to welcome you to our schools. For that, there is a very simple formality. What I can do is I'll be sharing some email address with Mr. Vinedhar, and those email address are of the officials of Directorate of Education Delhi. So all you have to do is to send an email to the concerned official. So once the official received the mail, he would process it and he would let you know a time window by which you can just visit us, and we will make sure that whatever you want to know about our system, whatever number of schools you want to visit, we can facilitate that all. So all you have to do is to send a simple email to the official concerned, and the email ID I'll be sharing with Mr. Vinedhar.
Thank you. Really, very grateful. We are very grateful to you, sir, for your kind offer. Now, before end the session, I would like to ask our Lakshman Bangara, the present.
Sumo sir.
Right.
Please, sir. One more thing. So regarding our subject English, the joyful learning type of method you are implementing. Can you share with us?
Happy curriculum. Gaurav, share about the happy curriculum.
Happiness curriculum. Yeah. Actually, these are two very good initiatives taken by the government of Delhi. One is happiness curriculum. Another one is EMC, entrepreneurship mindset curriculum. So I would like to start with happiness curriculum first. Oftentimes we used to observe in our schools that students, they are under great stress. And when students are under great stress, the teacher obviously cannot remain stress-free, because as a community, teacher and student have to be in the same classroom 6 hours a day. So our government has decided that there should be a dedicated time slot, a period where the students should be taught how could they be happy. So in the core of this happiness program, there is a very basic philosophy. The first philosophy is we have to be mindful of our surroundings. So we make our students practice mindfulness for about 10 to 15 minutes during this 40 minutes of period every day. So the happiness classes, they go for the student of class 1 till the student of class 8. So all the students from class 1 to class 8 practice mindfulness for first 15 minutes of the happiness period. Then we have some dedicated books. In these books, there are very interesting stories. Those stories, they help the students to make their own decision what is ethically and morally correct and what is not. For example, a very short story could be that two students are going to give their examination. Suddenly, one student saw a very old lady struggling because she met with an accident. So the student decided to help the old lady rather than going to the school and giving her exam. And eventually the story was left open-ended and the students were asked to discuss with each other who was right. One who took his examination seriously or another who left her examination just to help an old lady. So these sort of discussions are conducted with the help of teacher inside the classroom so that teacher and students both can come to a conclusion what is right, what is wrong, what are ethical values, what are moral values and all that. Thank you.
Sir, one thing, sir, the student who lost the exam helping a old lady, would he get compensated?
No. It was actually just a story in the book.
That's okay.
Yeah. So with the help of such stories, we help them to build upon a logic of what to do.
Values, learning values.
Yeah.
Okay, Sumo sir. Would you like to
Gaurav
ask?
sir.
Yes.
Yeah, Gaurav sir, good evening. This is Surendra Mohan.
Very good evening.
Sir, whether this mentorship program is implemented in the selected schools or in all the schools of Delhi state?
In Delhi, total we have about 1,030 schools. So the mentorship program is implemented in about 1,000 schools. The 30 schools which are not a part of this mentorship schools are actually School of Excellence and Pratibha Vikas Vidyalayas. These are specialized schools where the students come by merit, and these are the schools who always have the the credibility of getting 100% result. So these schools are considered free of this program. Remaining 1,000 schools come under the jurisdiction of this mentorship program.
So that means almost all the schools are covered.
Yes, almost all the schools. Only 31 schools are remaining.
Right. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Is there any other participant?
Okay, wind up, conclude the session.
Right. Thank you, sir. Really, it is quite enlightening. I request Lakshman Vangara to give a concluding address and say vote of thanks to our Gaurav sir.
Hello, Gaurav. Really, we are all on behalf of ELTA Telangana. We extend our heartfelt and sincere thanks to you for accepting, so readily accepting our invitation and take your time to be with us for nearly more than 1 hour. Okay, that's really, it's an amazing experience for all of us, and we have witnessed one of the good presentations of this series of webinars. It's not exaggerating, just what we are feeling, expressing from our bottom of my heart. And I hope if any if your time permits or any occasions, please let us also know what have you used any ICT in your classrooms, and we are also very much interested to know what kind of assessment system did you follow in your mentoringship. So I think we would like to listen the success stories of those things in our next presentations if possible. Anyhow, thank you very much, and thank you very much, Gaurav. We will look forward see you again as soon as possible.
Thank you so much.
Sir, this is Venkateshwara sir, ELTA Telangana State President, that I'm hosting this session. Sir, if possible, would you spend one more session with us to talk about the happy curriculum?
I can definitely do that. I think it would be better if I would cover both happiness curriculum and entrepreneurship mindset curriculum, because both these curriculum are complementary to each other. Happiness curriculum covers classes 1 to class 8, whereas entrepreneurship mindset curriculum cover class 9th to class 12th. So I would be more than happy to share with you what this happiness curriculum is all about and what this EMC entrepreneurship mindset curriculum is all about. Definitely.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. It's a great and wonderful evening spending with you and getting enlightened with your lecture and the presentation. Thank you very much. From ELTA, ELTA always indebted to you for your services that you have rendered so far. Thank you, sir. We'll be waiting for your next session. Thank you very much.
Sure, and please accept my sincere most gratitude for considering me valuable and worthy enough to be a part of this group of enlightened educationists. I'm very, very happy. I have seen that your questions are reflecting your core wisdom. And it is rare to get such questions so full of insight after a session. I am humbled, I am touched, and special thanks to Mr. Vinedhar as well, who has taken this initiative, and Niharika, obviously, that she became a part of this presentation today. So I'm very, very thankful to all of you, sir. Thank you so much.
I request all of you, please unmute your videos so that I'll take a picture of it.
Thank you, Gaurav.
Welcome.
Vinay sir, please.
Yeah, did it.
You must say a few words. Really, it is because of Vinay we could have your session, sir. Thank you, Vinay.
Yes, Vinay ji, obviously, a great thanks to you, sir.
Thank you everyone.
Gaurav sir and Vinay sir.
Yeah. So, because you are all enthusiastic to attend all the webinars. Okay, because you have got it, but I don't know the review.
Right. Thank you. Thank you one and all for sparing with us
Thank you.
for almost more than 1 hour.
Yeah.
Let us end the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you,
Gaurav sir.
Thank you.
Vinay sir.
Thank you.
Let's
Thank you, everyone.
all of us say at one
Yes,
time. A big round of applause.
Thank you, sir. Very kind of you.
Thank you. I'm glad. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Bye.
Yeah, bye.